Hello, and welcome back to my channel. I appreciate you stopping by to show me a little support. Today I wanted to come to you and talk a little bit about DNA testing. One of the reasons I wanted to bring up this subject is because DNA testing is really popular these days. And I myself did submit my DNA for testing on Ancestry. And one of the reasons that I did that is because I was trying to locate my biological father. At the end of the day, that mission was successful. But a lot of people don't realize that once you submit your DNA for testing on one platform, most of the time you can download your DNA results and you can upload them to another DNA site. And that's what I did. I did my testing on Ancestry. I didn't get, too many hits on Ancestry. Mostly people already knew that I was connected to. But there are other sites out there. For example, MyHeritage is one of them. And then there's a couple other ones that I'm not going to mention. One of them a lot of people were a little concerned about because they specifically make a claim to helping the government locate people who are felons, for example, out in the public and they are supposed to be locked up. Maybe they're running for the law or whatever. But I thought that was a very interesting concept because I was like, okay, yeah, so you put your DNA into this database and then all of a sudden these bells and whistles start going off with the police or the FBI or whomever it is. At any rate, that's what I did. I went ahead and I did my testing on Ancestry. And then when I uploaded my DNA to MyHeritage, that is where I got the connection to my biological father's side of the family. Initially, there was a hit on Ancestry, but I didn't know who this person was. I couldn't tell how they were connected to me. None of the other people that I found on MyHeritage had their DNA on Ancestry. So the connection to this individual, how it related to my biological father, was completely lost on me. However, when I went ahead and I uploaded my DNA to MyHeritage, I did find my biological father's only sibling and two of her children. And when I started kind of digging around in the history of what I found on Ancestry, I found out that the person who I was connected to on Ancestry was actually the grandson of one of the daughters that showed up on MyHeritage. So as you can see, these sites, it's kind of interesting that not everybody registers for all the different sites. Most of them you have to pay for, but they do have some free services. If you're going to build a tree, you want to do like a deep dive or things like that, those are the services that you actually have to wind up paying for. But if you're just basically, do your DNA test, upload your DNA, just to kind of see who hits, one way or the other. And then it's also great if you have both parents, because like say for example I did for my children, I did a test and my husband did a test. So when my children's DNA uploaded, everybody who was connected to my children on my side, it said mother's side. Everybody who was connected to my children on my husband's side, it said father's side. And so I think that is a good thing for my children, because later down the line, as people continue to upload their DNA into this database, regardless of what platform they use, because I did upload my children's DNA also and my husband's to MyHeritage to further assist in discovering these connections. But as time goes on and individuals continue to build this database, they continue to add to it, you start to see more and more people, these connections down the line. So specifically today, what I wanted to talk about was 23andMe. So while the Ancestry.com and the MyHeritage.com and some of these other DNA services out there are awesome when you're trying to discover where you came from, who you're connected to, things like that, 23andMe is it is a build on the DNA. So it's not just your DNA, but it also gives you this very detailed health report, and it tells you what health issues you could potentially have inherited from your parents or grandparents, or what your predisposed to? What health conditions are you can anticipate down the line? And this also helps because what you can do is try to troubleshoot or try to navigate these health issues by, you know, changing your eating habits or maybe exercising more, things like that. If you know that you're predisposed to diabetes, you know, you can start trying to make sure that you focus on a healthier lifestyle, so that, you know, if in the event diabetes there's an onset, that you don't necessarily inherit the worst part of it. Say, for example, because you can be a diabetic and, you know, just manage it with your diet, or you can be a diabetic and you manage it with like a low level type of drug, or you can be a diabetic and have to have insulin. So, you know, there's wide range of symptoms and side effects and treatment plans for each disease. So that is the reason I'm coming to you today. I want to kind of talk to you about 23andMe, because one of the interesting factors that I found out about 23andMe is that I have a flexible spending plan. Every year when it's time for me to renew my benefits on my job, I usually put money into a pot, which I can use for doctor's appointments, medicine, durable medical supplies, things like that, and that money is already set aside for those things. Well, I was curious about, actually I went to upload my DNA to 23andMe, only to find out that 23andMe is one of the DNA sites that do not allow you to upload DNA data from other sites. And I believe that one of the reasons that they do that is because of how they want to break down the DNA, in not just to show you where you come from and who you're connected to, but also to get into the health side of it. So I went ahead and I used my flexible spending account in order for me to get my 23andMe test. I have not as of yet taken it. Not that there's a reason. I just put it away, you know, when I'm cleaning and things, and I keep forgetting that I have it. So I have to go ahead and do this. And one of the reasons I want to is because I already have health issues, and my husband has health issues. But my mother has been a person who has been diagnosed with different things, and they are conditions that I have never heard of. There are conditions that, I mean, you literally have to make sure you get the spelling exact so that you can go and do the research on, because they just seem like just so outrageous, and it's nuts. But one of the reasons that her health has been in the forefront of all of our conversations is because her doctors are tied to, and she goes to a research hospital. So this hospital, they're training medical professionals, and she's seeing doctors who have been trained to look for some of the rarest conditions that you could ever think of or you could ever imagine. And so because every time I, you know, talk to her, when she's gone to a doctor, she's gotten a different diagnosis, she's mentioning these conditions or these diseases, and I'm like, okay, you know, you need an encyclopedia, you need a thesaurus, you need all kind of stuff in order to have a conversation with her. And she texts me, and you know, she will screenshot me different things so that I can look up the words, you know, because they're just conditions that are just, I'm like, wow, it blows your mind. But because of that, one of the things that I felt like would be important for me would be to go ahead and get this test done, because I'm like, good gracious of life, my mother and I are 20 years apart, and there have been a couple things that have come up, and thankfully for me, I have not developed those, have not been diagnosed with those. I have been tested for some of the stuff, but they're not on my radar as far as like what's going on with me specifically. Unfortunately, my older brother, there are a few things that she's dealing with that he's also dealing with. And at one point he was really, really sick, and they didn't know what was going on with him. And my mom said, hey, you need to tell the doctor to test you for this, because she had just been diagnosed with that, and nobody had ever heard of that before. And so sure enough, when they tested him for that, he was officially diagnosed with this condition. And so then they knew how to treat what was going on with him. And so to me, stuff like that is a little scary, because here's the thing. What if she had never been diagnosed with that? What would have happened to his care? What would have happened would they have ever figured out what the heck was going on with him? And so, you know, this is just an opportunity for me to take a closer look at what might be going on with my health right now, but also what could potentially be going on with me later down the road, so that I can start to be proactive in my care. I can start to be more responsible with what is going on with me physically. I do want to end this video by saying this is not a sponsorship. 23andMe is not sponsoring me. Ancestry is not sponsoring me, nor is MyHeritage or any other DNA platform. They're not sponsoring me. I just thought it was good information for you to know. Those of you who, because I'm on Ancestry, on a Facebook group in Ancestry, and this lady paid for all these different DNA tests when all she had to do is download her DNA results and upload them to the other websites. And so that was just kind of money lost. So that's what I was going to do with 23andMe, only to find out that they are probably the only DNA platform that will not allow you to recycle your DNA results, so that they can put you in their database and find out, you know, what's going on with you. And I do believe one of the reasons that they don't do that is because it specifically says health and ancestry. So they don't, the way that Ancestry and MyHeritage pull their DNA may have a lot to do, everything to do with why they can't use the data, because the data has to be manipulated a certain way. At any rate, I hope you enjoy this information. Oh, don't forget, if you have flexible spending, the FSA, all you have to do is go to 23andMe, and I do not know if, I believe that because this is also a health test, that is the reason your flexible spending account pays for it. It's not just your Ancestry DNA. So I don't know if Ancestry and MyHeritage or any of the other ones, you can purchase the test kits. But I do know for a fact that my flexible spending paid for this test. And I do believe that it's because it is also health related, because those are your financial health benefits. But anyway, I just wanted to bring this information to you because I thought it was very interesting. And again, I'm not being sponsored. I just wanted to share. And that is going to do it for this video. If you have any questions about how to make the purchase, go ahead and leave me a comment below. If you made it to the end of this video, say healthcare. And then, you know, we don't get out of here without saying love yourself, love somebody else, and until next time, y'all take care. Bye.